name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my summer TBR. Okay, so I built this TBR based around just what I am currently reading, what I've read in past summers. Is there water involved in this book somehow? And or does the title of the book have the word summer in it? This was a very hard TBR for me to narrow down to 10, but I did choose just 10 books. Do I wish it was smaller? Yes, absolutely I do, but that is just not realistic at this time. And on that note, there's very little chance that 10 books is actually realistic either, but I'm going to try anyway. So with that, the content warnings for all of these books will be linked down below in the description, and let's go ahead and get into it. And the first book on this TBR is A Chorus Rises by Bethany C. Morrow, which is the sequel to A Song Below Water. A Song Below Water follows our main character who has to keep her siren powers hidden, and then this also follows her sister who is dealing with her own past and struggles. These two are trying to navigate these things together, but everything changes in the aftermath of a siren murder trial, and our main character ends up letting out her voice at the worst possible moment. Her magical siren voice, that is. I read A Song Below Water towards the beginning of July last year, and it's just become one of the main books that I think of when I think of the summer. I loved all of the modern fantasy elements and the characters and their sisterly relationship with one another. But there was a character in that book that honestly kind of drug the book down for me because I didn't really understand her motivations, and I thought that she could have used a lot more development. And I think this book is probably going to end up fixing that. Like, I know basically nothing about this, but I do think it's going down that road. And there's just so much that I want to know more about and would love to see more of, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one. Next up is Faith Taking Flight by Julie Murphy. This is a superhero origin story that follows our main character who lives a pretty normal teenage life, from volunteering at her local animal shelter to obsessing over a long-running teen drama. However, that all changes when she discovers that she can fly, and that teen drama relocates to her town and the heroine takes a romantic interest in her. When animals and people begin to go missing and a new designer drug infiltrates her high school, our main character will have to risk everything and confront her new gifts in order to save her friends and her town. This book is a part of my 2023 TBR, and it's been on my TBR for just a really long time, so I want to get it off of it. Ever since I read Dreadnought and Sovereign by April Daniels, which are two books that have nothing to do with this one, but I read both of those in the summer, and now I just associate superhero stories with the summer. So this book could have been in a lot of TBRs, but it's in this one now. I would love to get into this author's work, honestly, because I haven't even tried yet, and I need to because I've heard really good things. And I'm hoping that Faith Taking Flight will be a good place to start. Next up is Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Sher. This follows our main character who wants to win the Mid-Autumn Festival mooncake making competition in his mother's memory so that his family's struggling Chinese takeout business can gain the attention that it needs. He then meets a rich and handsome stranger who convinces him to be his fake date to his family's wedding in the Hamptons. Their worlds could not be more different from one another, and our main character finds himself falling for his fake date and also just caught up in a lot of rich people drama. And we follow him as he has to navigate the upcoming competition while also trying to follow his heart and not get sidetracked. This book is described as a mix of Heartstopper and Crazy Rich Asians, which sounds super fun. And honestly, that's all that I really want from this book. I want a cute, fun, and quick summer read, even though this takes place in mid-autumn. But other than that, everything else that I've ever heard about this book makes me feel like it's going to be exactly that. The cover is adorable, it feels cozy and heartwarming, and I just really feel like I am going to love this. Next up is Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong, which is a book that follows the events of These Violent Delights. These Violent Delights is a Romeo and Juliet retelling that is set in 1920 Shanghai. There are rival gangs and a monster, and our main character has to team up with her first love, who is also her first betrayal. And together they have to set aside their guns and their grudges in order to stop all of the mayhem. So this series is just going to be in my TBR until I catch up, and this book is just going to be in my TBR until I read it, which should be very soon, so that shouldn't be long. I need more of these characters in my life and just more of Chloe Gong's stories in general. I think about this universe way too much, honestly, but I love that. Like, it reminds me of when I first started reading 4 years ago. I'm not entirely sure where this series is going, but I love what I do know, and I am really excited to dive into this. Next up is Hurricane Child by Kacen Callender. This is a middle grade book that follows our main character who was born during a hurricane and has faced a lot of bad luck because of that, including a spirit that keeps following her around and her missing mother. However, when a new student arrives, our main character's luck begins to turn around and she starts to develop a crush on her. These two must go out into a hurricane in order to find our main character's missing mother before she loses her forever. So at the time of filming this, I have recently completed my reread of King and the Dragonflies by Kacen Callender, so I figured that this would be a good time to go ahead and check this one out too. It's kind of hiding back there right now, but Felix Ever After is also just one of my favorite books of all time, and even though Queen of the Conquered wasn't my favorite, it did still have a lot of things that I enjoyed about it, so all of that considered, I definitely think that I'm going to really enjoy this one as well. And I'll probably go on to enjoy even more from this author in the future because I am definitely reading all of their books eventually. Next is Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the second book in the Brown Sisters trilogy, which is an Own Voices spicy adult romance series. And this one follows Dani, who after a video of them goes viral, decides to start fake dating her office's security guard. He's secretly a hopeless romantic, and she's more looking for a friends with benefits type of situation. But it isn't long before what she wants starts to get a lot more complex. So I've read Get a Life Chloe Brown, I've read Act Your Age Eve Brown, and now it is time to read Dani. All of the books in this series have been super lovely, adorable, and fun so far, and this one sounds like it is going to be no different. This series also seems to have some really amazing and interesting character growth and character exploration. I have been really loving all of that, so I'm definitely looking forward to experiencing that in here as well, and just getting to know these two as characters and getting to see their relationship. And afterwards, I will have finally finished the series, which doesn't happen nearly as often as it should on this channel, especially for anything longer than a duology, so this is an accomplishment for me. Next up is The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks by Mackenzi Lee. This is the third book in the Montague sibling series, the first of those being The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. Gentleman's Guide follows our main character whose grand tour of Europe and quest for pleasure and vice is in danger. After the tour is over, he will be forced into taking over his family's estate and following all of the responsibilities that come with that. Therefore, he is determined to make the most of this year-long tour with his sister and best friend slash crush, but his recklessness turns his trip into a manhunt across Europe. Okay, so we do have another series that I am trying to wrap up here. I honestly have no idea about anything that has to do with this book, like, at all. I just know that I've really enjoyed everything else about this series, so I definitely want to finish it. This series has had some really lovable characters so far, and I'm really hoping to see more of them in here, and I'm also looking forward to meeting the new characters as well. And I am very curious to see what this book has to offer, because it's been a while since I've gone into a book knowing this little about it. Next up is The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This follows our main character who spends every summer at a beach house with two boys who have never noticed her noticing them. That is, until they do, and everything begins to change for the better and also the worse. Okay, so this thing has all three books of the trilogy in here. I'm only really committing to the first one right now, but we'll see how it goes. I love the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy back when I read that, so I went and hauled this one not too long after I finished it. And then I heard some things about this series that made me nervous, so this has been on my TBR for a while, and by that I mean actual years. But I do want to try it. It's summer, and I really hope that I don't hate it. Next is The Summer of Bitter and Sweet by Jen Ferguson. This is a debut that follows our main character who is working at an ice cream shack with her ex-boyfriend who has only ever made her feel discomfort and her ex-best friend who disappeared 3 years ago. She was hoping that her biological father would stay behind bars for the rest of his life, however that all changes when she receives a letter from him insisting that she meets with him. And when her family business comes under threat, she realizes that she cannot avoid him forever, no matter how much she wants to. Since this book does contain a lot of dark topics and themes, so I definitely recommend checking those out if you are interested in this book. This book is on this TBR for two main reasons. One is just that I've heard really amazing things about it, and two, it has the word summer in the title, and how could I not put it in this TBR when the word summer is right there? And that also applies to The Summer I Turned Pretty, by the way. And the final book on this TBR is The Wicked Bargain by Gabe Novoa. This follows our transmasculine non-binary main character who is a teen pirate hiding a magical ability. However, this magic is not enough from stopping El Diablo from coming to collect the soul of their father and the entire crew as payment for a bargain made by their father. Our main character is saved by the only remaining pirate crew, and El Diablo comes to them to make them an offer of a seemingly impossible task. So they refuse that bargain, and then things seem pretty dark. That is until they meet their unlikely allies and gain the courage to actually use their magic. This book is currently in my Pride Month TBR for June. There is a chance that by the time this video comes out that this will be my current read. And I love that because this book sounds incredible. I'm excited for a lot of things about this book, but I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm not a little bit extra excited for the pirates. Like, that is just not going to happen. This was a book that I knew that I needed to haul as soon as I saw it during the Trans Rights Readathon on Instagram. It sounds dark and fun and just like everything that I want, and I am so excited to read this. Okay, so those are all the books that I have for this TBR. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!